Hello, everybody. Rev.Hawksblood here. I'm having lots of problems with my computer already. Don't know what's going on. But live from Hawaii and England, uh, Hawksblood. I'm in Hawaii, and Tim Bird's in England. Greetings, Tina. How are you?
Greetings, Tommy. Hello. Tina Bird here from Southampton in the UK. We're transmitting to Tommy Hawksblood in Hawaii. We've got a great show for you this week, and it's good to see you all back. And Tommy, I'll leave it to you, but hello, everybody.
So we've got a lot to get into. I don't know how long Tina can actually stay, but stay as long as you can. And let's start it off with the title of the show. I hope you read it, because basically this is going to go beyond all the stories you heard, all the lies you heard, and everything between this and that. That's grab your seat, sit down, relax, get ready for some truth, whether you're really ready or not. Everything I say is the truth, that I know it for a fact as well. And Tina's talking about her truth that she's basically 100% sure about for her own self as well. So without further ado, we're going to start the show. But people, call in, ask questions, any questions you have pertaining to the topics that we're dealing with. Fine. Information is accepted as well. So please feel free to send us anything you have. But Tina, do you want to start off?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, thank you, Tommy. Yeah, interestingly enough, this week, there's been some things, and I like to watch and read as much as I can. And I like to watch like the mini interviews and things like that, of other people. It's always great to hear what's going on in people's experiences, and it's learning. You're educating yourself, and so I've been watching like CIA interviews with ex-CIA agents and people like that, and there was one really good one this week. There was one on Facebook and one on TV. It was about the Remus and Polizina's missions, two ships that went to the moon, apparently. And they went to the moon and discovered a building there. And there was a 30-man team in Polizina ship, and I'm not sure how many in the Remus ship. Anyway, they found this metal building. They thought it was stone, but it was metal building. I'm not quite sure. It was an unknown origin material on the moon. So they planted some like seismic activity things there, and some other equipment, because they kept receiving a signal. It was a constant like beacon signal. So they went there, and the beacon was coming from this metal building. It looked like it was half encrusted, like a cap top of a pyramid, but it wasn't square. It was underneath the ground. Majority of it, they could only see the square piece sticking up. So just as they're there hanging about doing some stuff, they see something move in space above the moon, and all of a sudden they spot this UFO between the two ships. So this Remus says, like, the Polizina team say, like, go, I've still got to wait for my man. I've got to get 30 men on board the ship before I can take off. So the Remus is already loaded up with men. They take off, head back to Earth sideways, away from this UFO, which is directly above them. So they're in direct like sight with the Earth. As soon as the Polizina's loaded up, this UFO is still hovering above them. It's joined by a second UFO. So these UFOs obviously live at this thing where they've been putting all these devices around. That's been emitting this signal. So they're in trouble. They go to lift off. They don't want to antagonize the other ships. Apparently they had nothing on board but some air guns and some lasers. And they move sideways away from Earth. So instead of going up and away like the Remus did, the Polizina team went up slightly and sideways away into outer space. Within a second, and the second UFO was in front of them. stopping their exit, but I think they realised, or it was guiding them back to Earth, or whether the ships were communicating with each other. But this other UFO stopped them going out into space any further and kind of redirected them back to the Earth. Whether it was to say, we're not going to hurt you, you should be going back that way. It took them a slightly longer to get back because obviously they didn't have the extra journey going out in space to escape a UFO. But the interesting thing of this was the Remus team landed and they were all okay. When the Polyxena team were landed, they were taken off for medical health assessments for everybody on board because of close interaction with the UFO, which tells me what I've been telling everyone all along, and there's proof right there. And that's Richard Doherty gave that interview. I think it was part 4 or part 7 of an interview. So it confirms the CIA and the American government knows that UFOs cause human biological physical damage. So, if they're giving their teams health assessments, not just because of space, because of in close proximity to a UFO, they have to be checked over in a different manner. What does that tell you? And yet they have spacesuits on in an insulated spacecraft and they're prepared for this. Normal, everyday human beings like me and you and the rest of the population don't wear radiation suits or alarms. We don't have insulated spacecrafts or insulated rooms to stop us either being taken or protect us from radiation. It's like chucking a bit of meat on the barbecue. We're kind of left to it and hung out there, but yet there's no one checking us over for medicals and reassuring us and giving us expert, treatment. So there's a lot to be said. If they can get it, why aren't the general populace who are being taken get it? We're all human beings and we pay for this. People seem to forget that we are paying for this. And if they think that they're going to give them compensation, extra medical checks and treatment, why aren't they doing the same for the general population? It's not wrong, it's not fair, and it's not right. So, we can't have one rule for one for another, and one for a different other country. So that's where I stand on it. There's been lots of other talk as well. I've been watching other things going on. President Trump's been doing some things over there, but there's still a lot of talk about other people running that time, what they've been held against. You get no feedback from all these UFO trials, reports, skiffs and meetings and what have you. There's no real answers, no feedback being brought back to the public. How far along is the investigation? Who are they investigating? What they're investigating? What files are they looking at? What truth are they getting at for us? What are they going to release? What is going to change? What laws are going to be changed? There's so many questions that aren't even close to being answered, let alone, a UFOs rule. Well, yes, we know that. They announced that years ago. But what's being more is being hidden and what the government aren't being told about, fine. But the people are missing the point. Yes, UFOs are real. Where is the government feedback and backlash for that? Where is the public outcry for investigations into this? Why wasn't it announced earlier? How much evidence do they have on that? Never mind the next step, which is origin and intent. And now that everyone's coming forward saying what they've seen, well, they've already documented what they've seen. We know that because it's out. So again, where is the public confrontation? Where is the public investigation? Who's investigating that for the public? Why weren't the public told sooner? Why was this amount of information needed over years before they did anything? That should be the biggest key here. But before us, the human race, did anything, and we're still kind of sat on our laurels now, as to many other things, and yet space exploration still proceeds. How can you still proceed with so many things and contact without a set of rules? Or if you have a set of rules, where did they come from? How did they come about? Was the general public informed? All these things are decided by governments, which we pay for, we reinforce, and we vote in. Where is our feedback? Where is, we're an endless cash point for the government. We're just bankrolling things and we're getting no feedback, no protection, so it's something's not quite right there somewhere. Not enough questions are being asked on behalf of the public. So we have that. A lot of people just interested in at the moment is feedback from fighter pilots and people like that because they've been engaging when they have them on film. Well, now they have lots of other things on film. You have people coming forward like me with, medical evidence. People have pictures, medical evidence, and things like that in films. What is being done about that? Again, I'm a big advocate for we as human beings, not just us in this country, other countries that don't have the internet, and other peoples that are poor, they don't have phones or access to TVs or Wi-Fi or internet. What about their injuries and their families and how they live and how that's affected them if they've lost loved ones? And what about if you've been locked up wrongly in a foreign country or your own country just for saying you've seen a UFO? What about the people that have taken their lives or taken someone else's life or been locked up wrongly just because they've said they've seen that? When people have been given wrong treatments for telling the truth. What's happening about that? Is it been stopped? When the second that came out, this should have been right across the telly and worldwide global news. What's changed? What laws have been passed? What's been put in place? Who's reviewing these cases? Is it case by case? You're going to let everyone go in each country? There's no other feedback. It just seemed that it's real. They said it's real. We have the evidence, and that's it. That's not good enough. I know I'm quite dumbfounded by the public's reaction to that. But I'll hand it back to Tommy. For me, it's disbelief that, and especially taking our lead from America and people like that. Why the Americans are normally quite outraged at anything like that. I know us British are, but nothing's been fed back or said about all these people locked up incorrectly. Tommy, what do you think about that? People that have been locked up just for saying they've seen a UFO. Are they still in prison in America? What's being done to release them?
No, they don't do that in America, but
they do in the UK. They used to do in the UK till quite recently. I mean, a few years, a year or so.
Well, they used to. They always go after them, but not under the UFO disguise. They go after them as being crazy or doing something bad. One of the most important people that's in jail right now, he was in charge of all the UFO files in the Navy. And he was going to release them, and they put him in jail and framed him for murder. All right, John Ford, who's in the nut house on Long Island, he was arrested, and they said he had uranium and he was going to kill people in government. He was going to put it in their toothpaste. They made it ridiculous stories, but they don't just say they're UFO crazy. Otherwise, if they're out there mainstream like Phil Snyder and people like that, Fred Bell, they just kill them. All right, I don't know how long that'll stay on the internet, but they take them out. All right, people, that's a fact. Whether you want to believe it or not, I mean, even in Congress, when Stephen Greer went to Congress, they take people out, and Congress says we don't take people out. Well, people will never admit to murder. Why would they? Unless they're pretty sick. I mean, they have to be sick to murder somebody in the first place. But to admit it is really bad. Whether they would not ever do that. But I want to get into a couple things about why and everything that's going on right now. All these stories are coming out. Why? Because man is and has always been at a place to protect themselves, creating things that seem to protect them, like religion. The whole idea, like Mr. Greer comes out with saying all aliens are good. Good for what? That there's no bad aliens until the government. Let's blame the government for everything. Well, we got two governments in the United States, the secret government and the outer movement of a government. Both of them do not work together in any way. Even Mr. Rumpo has no clue what's really going on in the UFO world. And they probably won't, because they asked him and he said he doesn't believe in aliens. But he did create the Space Force the day after he met Putin. So he has some level of awareness, but not any major stuff about what aliens they work with, what they actually brought in the White House, why they had to kill an alien race, and all those kind of things. Trump's not even there. His mind's so far into taxing the world is ridiculous. And his only concern is money, like Mr. Musk. But I want to go into Mr. Musk first, because Musk has been going on for over a year about he wants to go to Mars. Now, his daughter came out, did an interview, and said that's all delusional. He doesn't want to go to Mars. He's not planning on going to Mars. He just released a flying car. Well, China just released one as well. There's a competition there, but it's really bad because Tesla invented a jet, the fastest jet on the planet with weapons on it. And now he released some small spaceship. Where he wants to go with that is up in the air, but he's losing tons of money. They do all these other things to try to get their money back. He lost more money than anybody else in history. But his idea of space is limited. I've been trying to get in touch with him for over a year already, even though over the past couple months he said he was going to give me a Tesla car, he's going to give me money. And I said, I don't want anything until you do a Skype video call, which he will do. Just about everybody on the internet, when you get messages from them, are not the real person. And that's pretty pathetic. You think Musk would get all the fake sites of him off, and he doesn't. One of my people that I've been trying to get in touch with, Gal Gadot, the one that just put out Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But there's about 10 sites of hers. None of them are hers for real. So when you want to get in touch with people, it's almost impossible. Internet's incredible, but try to talk to the real people that are out there. I've been trying to get in touch with Oprah for over 25 years. No lie. I did all her shows and she did everything, trying to get in touch with her. Never replied once. These people with money, which are controlling the world, do not care about aliens, at least publicly. But I want to bring up a lot of things today, Tina. I don't know how much you want to get into any of them, but I just want to say that.
Go for it. I just want to say one thing that you did touch on there, just to follow up with Tommy's right. I know I keep saying that, but I watched a program and I've been looking at internet news about UFOs, and they keep referring to Stephen Greer. I don't know the gentleman, but he's what did they say is so this is something similar. Because I can't remember exact verbatim what it was. It said the global expert or the world's expert on UFOs. Has he seen one? Has he been inside of the ship? And has he been abducted? Because if you haven't done any of those three, I wouldn't even class you as an expert. But that's just my opinion. Just go ahead, Tommy. Sorry.
No problem. I don't know what's going on with the computer right now with our show. Trying to get back to normal. I can't even see it. Okay, there I am. But here's the thing. What I was getting into, we have all this information coming out that's lies. And I know I say it a lot. 90% or even more than that you hear on ancient aliens are twisted truth. They just did a show recently on native history about aliens and all that. Well, first off, native stories are just that. They have very little foundation in reality. Second of all, there is no such thing as a good alien helping a native nation, ever. The stories get better when they're told. The elders, they don't have documents. They just use verbal hand down. And basically when they hand down a story, it's just that gets twisted. It's like the old saying, put 100 people in a room, pass a message around, it never comes back anything close to what it started as. But their teachings and what they say are full of stories that are no closeness to reality. I'm not getting into all the stories, but the star beings, which they all say they work with, are grays. Second of all, they are not gods, not anything even close to it. Now, when they did the Ancient Alien show, they were talking about the Hopi elders and their teachings, their prophecy. Well, I was with Thomas Binyaka, who was the carrier of the Hopi prophecy. He died, 2 more people carried it, and I was with both of them. The story they tell in Ancient Aliens are twisted from everything about that, making it this and making it that. It's sad. You're going to tell a story, tell it right. Tell it as closest to the truth that you were given. Now, the Hopi prophecy was created a long time ago. Thomas Binyaka was the oldest Hopi elder, and he died years ago. But I was with him right before he died. And part of the Hopi prophecy, which he told me, I was in a hotel room with him, and he said, mankind is not moving forward. And the prophecy says if the white man doesn't unite with the red man, the world will be destroyed. That was his prophecy, which he carried for a very long time. And I mean, it got changed. Well, the destruction by this. No, the Hopi prophecy was engraved in the underground cities that the Hopi people lived in. And it showed World War One and World War Two. And it says World War Three will happen if we don't unite. So when they twist it to whatever, well, sure, people can tell stories and, well, this is the prophecy. But Tibet had a prophecy which is exactly the same as the Hopi people. And sadly, Tibet was taken over by the Chinese people. And the Hopi people said, we're not going to be here much longer. So when I was with Thomas Minyaka right before he died, he says, it's ending. We can't go much further than this. But even Biden gave an incredible speech about the Native people before he died. Not talking about aliens, but talking about what the white men did to the Native people. And then he freed Lenin Peltier, a whole other story. But the stories are twisted when people tell it over. Ancient aliens, all the UFO specials. Yes, we know there's UFOs there. And whether they can prove it's an alien ship or a Russian ship or a Chinese ship. If a Russian ship or a Chinese ship was flying over the United States, that would be an act of war, people. Do you understand that? Simple fact. If we flew over Russia, which we did, and they shot our plane down, you remember that story? It was a big story. It went on because there was 2 people on the plane, and they tried to rescue parts of it and wanted to prove this, that, and fly it back. But an act of war is when a group of ships go over the White House, like happened in 1952 when it went over the White House. Thousands of people saw it. So it wasn't Russia. It wasn't China. We don't have the technology that was 52. I'm talking about now we have a different technology because of Mr. Tesla. All right. And I'm not going to get into that story because he worked with aliens, people. You don't have to believe it or not. I did my UFO work with a person where he was working with DuPont. The story there is the most important UFO story in the United States, and nobody talks about it. All right. I'm not going to go into it now. But there's basically the 2 most important stories are not talked about in the UFO world. And all they go on is about orbs and could be and maybe this and maybe that. We're so far beyond that, people. We know that. And I'm telling you want to see a UFO, go outside every night for a week. Watch the sky, I'd say between 3 and 5, right before sunrise, no matter what. You'll see UFOs. You'll see things that move sideways, backwards, stop, or blink. Satellites do not do that. And aliens are different technology than Russia or China. They can't go across the sky in 3 seconds. Well, let me just say this. When I was with the person I did all my UFO with, we had a camera that shot 30 frames a second. And 25 years ago, that was an important thing. So we had to watch it in slow motion to see the ships come by. And they're only on 2 frames. All right. So when they say, well, we can do that, no, we can't travel faster than the speed of light. Ever. Not one person or ship on this planet yet. So these ships can go across the whole sky in a split second. They don't have to. Now, in the day, I'll tell you this straight out. They travel fast because they do not want to be seen. But at night, they travel slower. I can't give you the exact reason, but they do travel slower at nighttime because they assume you can't see them. But over the past year, even here right now in Hawaii, I can film 10, 20 ships in 15, 20 minutes. And they're not satellites. So, people, again, if you don't believe in UFOs, go outside and watch the sky for a week. You'll be surprised what you see. Anything that stops, anything that goes sideways, anything that changes size and color and brightness is not a satellite, people. But here's the thing. I want to go into this a little longer. I don't know if you're going to be around long enough, Tina, but I want to go into this in detail. Aliens do not give a hoot about most people here.
That's
There's 8
true.
billion people. Why do they pick certain people to abduct? Like Tina, they need a few people. They don't need 8 billion people. Now, I'm going to go into the reason why about that. Because if they wanted 8 billion people, they would protect the planet and they would help the people live normal, which we don't. We're at war and we've been at war and we're always at war. So if they were intelligent, oh, they're so intelligent. Technology is not intelligence that is beneficial to the human race. The weapons that they humans use now from Tesla are dangerous to mankind, and they will help destroy this planet. What the government uses for weather, which nobody talks about, what's causing the serious problems in our weather, are
Um,
dangerous weapons, all created by Tesla. Tesla worked in New Jersey, worked with an alien race. And the story there is just real fast. They flooded a city, and for 9 months, UFOs went in and out of that reservoir while the government had their army stationed around it and watched it. Could do nothing about it. The ships went through the frozen ice when it was frozen. They went in and out of it all the time. While Tesla was playing games with DuPont, DuPont changed the idea of Freon and they went to a more expensive Freon. It was all a game. Nothing about the truth. I did my UFO stuff with a friend. I'm going to say his name. We're not friends, but Sergeant 18 was his name at the time. Now he's claiming to be a religious disciple of Jesus. But again, we worked together for years, filming every kind of a ship that was up there, and entities and creatures, all kinds of stuff. And this was because DuPont was working with Tesla. Tesla was underground, but he also created an earthquake machine. He created time travel. He was working on a lot of things right there. But during that time frame, when the Philadelphia experiment happened, it's not a story. It's not a make-believe story. It's just as real as Jesus, Moses, or anybody else. But when it happened, they created the biggest dangerous vortex on the planet, which is allowing all these creatures, entities, and alien beings coming in to this reality. All
it's
right.
got to tear a fabric in space and time between our realities. Surely, when they do, same as when they lit off the bomb, when they lit off the bomb at Area 51, wherever it was, that is, and Skinwalker Ranch is just over the ridge. Surely, that has got to affect the Earth around it, the space fabric of time around it, the atmosphere around it. Destroying parts of our planet. So, yeah, Tommy, that is right. That is right.
Well, for the HARP system was given to the government from Tesla. All right, directed energy beams, which they're using now, which are more dangerous than any other weapon, are being used inside the United States. People, you don't believe anything I'm telling you, but you'll see the destruction. You'll see end times coming a lot closer because we got the other thing called UN Agenda 30, which means one world order by 2030. And there's a giant base in the United States, home of the New World Order. All right. It's got a 6 or 8 foot wall around it. It's bigger than the White House, and it's directly over the underground city, one of the underground cities. All right. Jesse Ventura exposed that years ago. You don't hear a word about it. Why? The bad things, they don't tell you. The good things that are supposed to be good, they make stories about it and make it better. Like aliens are good. No, aliens are here, but they're not good. Two separate definitions there that people agree on. Uh, and we talk about it a lot on our show all the time, and it's a bad word. It's called experiences. Tina is an abductee, not an experiencer. An experience is a programmed person, whether it's by aliens or government, come out, said they had a great trip and went all over the place and did all these cool things with aliens. It's all bull, people. They're all delusional. I don't know if they do drugs or just have a bad dream, but they're not telling what's really going on. All the space cities they went to out there and the words they come up with. I can tell you a person, Anna Hayes. She came out with 2 books in a month said she worked with 150 alien races. I'm not going to go into the whole story. She's dead now. But when people say they know what aliens are here for, what they're doing, just look at the results of what happens on this planet. Look at the results. Where do you see aliens helping? Now, I'm going to go into this a little bit later. Aliens never helped the native people.
No.
Oh, they taught them knowledge. Knowledge of what? How to live and die? What did they teach them? The Egyptians worked with aliens. The Mayans worked with aliens. What did they learn? Building pyramids were never beneficial to the human race. All right. The technology that they used was never beneficial for the human race. So when they say, oh, they helped us do what? Describe an event where aliens made it better for the human race on this planet.
They haven't helped us with the ozone. They haven't helped us with famine, disease. Um, in the last 100 years, all we've done is scientific advancement. Yes, but for what? We're recloning old things. Like we just made 3 direwolves now, haven't they? 2 males and a female from cloning. So you're bringing back old things that are extinct from over 75,000 years ago. They've been using, or 79,000 years ago. This old DNA. That's not an advancement forward. That's just bringing old life back to death. The Egyptians said that they could do that. What have they helped us with? The space exploration? Well, if it's like going into space, getting radiated and coming back, I wouldn't say that's a step forward. Have they helped us explore underneath the sea? No. Have they helped us live in a better way? No. Have they helped us live for free? No. Have they stopped us taking oil and gas out of the earth? No. What exactly is it that they have done?
Hold on, I'm just trying to. I got something going on crazy, but this is. I don't know what came up on your screen, but it's not
Just
good.
shared your screen by the look of it.
But I don't know. I can't do much right now. But here's the thing, people. I've been in this all my life. Tina's been in it. Maybe not completely aware of the things that happen, some of it, but she's learning more and more as she moves along. And hopefully we get some more truth for her because she's going to have a hypnotic thing done and all that. But this is our life story, people. She's going through the results of radioactive poisoning. And guess what? When you get on a ship and you do travel, and you do go into space, they're radioactive people. And not much is done or said about that. So all these people, well, I was on a ship and we went all around the universe and we did, they come back. You know, when they go up into space, you know how long it takes them to recuperate?
Tommy, have you seen the main screen?
No. Is it mine?
Your main, yeah, it can see everything. You shared, the screen you're looking at moving now is something everybody can see. You shared your screen. There you go.
Are you still on? Do you see anything on your screen right now?
Yeah, me and you are on the screen right now.
Okay,
but
that's
I've been having issues. Yeah, that's been both sides. I think we've been having issues intermittently going on and off.
Well,
they definitely don't want to share any information.
I don't know about anybody else, but in the past month, I've been having so many problems with Facebook, with X. I mean, being blocked, doing all these special things to get in, and prove you this and prove you that. It's mind-boggling. Something's going on. I wouldn't say it's the United States alone. It could be Russia. It could be China. But,
could be the UK.
And we're starting war with China. So, people, are you listening? See, people in Hawaii don't have TV. Most of them don't. Most of them don't listen to a radio. And they know very little about real things happening. When somebody says something, they believe it. I told them the president just got killed. Oh, wow. They wouldn't even know where to look to find out if it was even true. They live in off-grid houses, and I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it's pretty sad. So the people that have money, obviously, have TV and stuff. Well, we did a protest against Trump. There was a couple thousand people there. We got a big one set up for another week from now. But what can we do with what's happening? Very little. It's mind-boggling. But aliens are in the background watching us, but not like we're good people to watch. I had an ant farm when I was little, and I had them, and I used to draw what they did every day, the tunnels, and but you know what? Did it accomplish anything? If aliens are watching us, what are they learning? We're ignorant. We don't move forward. Instead of moving forward, we're moving backwards. Our technology is growing. People like Tesla, the company Tesla, and Musk, and our secret government. But what are they really doing for the human race? The planet? Nothing. We're having the worst weather. We're having the worst conditions. The United States is a disaster right now. And let me just pull this up one split second. Holy smokes. The Ring of Fire is on fire. Okay, 5.5 in Indonesia,
There's
5.2
been
in
a lot of earthquakes around the globe recently.
right now, today, Easter Island,
Do you
Mexico.
think Hapgood's theory of Earth place, movement is correct? Because I think it is. But
Well,
they made the film, didn't they, about it?
they're, they can create earthquakes. Mr. Tesla created an earthquake machine in 1900, and he gave it to the United States. The Ring of Fire, I don't know if anybody knows what the Ring of Fire is. It's between Russia, China, Japan, the United States. It's a big circle of all the islands and countries. But right now, they're all having giant earthquakes. Never happened in history. As far as the 1900s, which I kept the charts of, all right, has never been this bad as it is in the past, basically this past year, and now a year that we're in now, have never saw so many earthquakes in such a short time. Now there's a 7.2 that destroyed a country just last week. But right now we've got all these giant earthquakes going off. Uh, we're going to have a big one. Obviously, when you have 1,000, one out of them has to be really big. 7.2 was big because it did destruction. But I'm
We
saying,
had
well,
one not far from us, between us and Iceland a couple of weeks ago.
well, I'm saying there will be one over 8. It will produce a tsunami. But I'm not sure whether it's going to be between Japan, Alaska. I mean, Australia has so many earthquakes, but it's not on our earthquake chart for some reason. Uh, because the biggest army base on the planet is in Australia, people, and you probably don't even know that. And it's supported by Britain and the United States. People, war and government and everything's all lies. The UFO world is blocked out completely. Now, why do people get sick? Why do people would do things like this? Just take away the rights of people to know what's happening? It's pathetic. Aliens are worse because they are controlling us. I'm going to get into the food factor. I don't know if you want to stick around and listen to it, or not.
Oh, I'm just gonna make an early exit this evening. I've been not been well for the last few months, but I'm getting tired and get pain every now and then. But I'm going to say goodbye. But what I will say before I go is just about my book quickly. There's my book. There it is. It's called The Bonded: The Truth About Alien Abduction. You can get it on Amazon Kindle, and if you have Amazon Unlimited, you can get it for free. It's only £10. I think it's cheaper than a box of cigarettes. So, but it contains my account about what has happened to me since a child till I was older. It doesn't have views or opinions about anything else. Just my basic account is in there. If you want to know about what it's like to be taken and read all about it in there, there it is. The Bonded: The Truth About Alien Abduction. You can find that. But Tommy also, Tommy's emails on the screen. It's hawksblood1@aol.com. He is a fountain of knowledge. He has written many, many books. He's got years of experience. If you want to know a question or an answer, please get in touch with us or come on the show. Tommy can arrange that for you to come onto our show. If you want to read my book for free, you can do. It's on Kindle Unlimited, or you can just buy it through Amazon as it is. But for me, for this week until next week, well, I'm probably a bit later. Take care and keep looking up. Again, believe in yourself. Do your research. Don't take other people's word for it. Do your research. Look at things. Listen to people. Read books. Read as many books as you can. But for me, Tommy, I'll see you next week. You take care and take care, guys. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Sounds good. Stay safe. Talk to you soon. Love and light. Bye bye. All right, people. Tina Bird, she's going through a lot of stuff, and it's not natural. She's been exposed to radiation. We've proved it for 3 years. Doctors, the hospitals, nobody's doing much for her. They keep saying this, that, and the other thing. They keep saying they can't find this, can't do that, but they're doing all these major operations that are not really helping her. But I wish her to stay safe, and I really think aliens have a lot to do with what's going on with her. I mean, she's got ships over her house. Go on her site. Every day she's putting pictures of ships that stay over her house. They're watching her. They've been watching her since the first time they got her. She was taken when she was young. I mean, I was almost taken when I was young. But again, her stories, my stories are as real as they get. I'm not making it up. I'm not doing this for money, neither is Tina. I have not did UFO books. I do my book on spiritual awareness and truth, but I don't feel I should be making money on UFO stuff because basically all those people out there making money on it are feeding you lies. Never put out they're all lying. How many people believe that, well, my truth's going to be better than theirs? Well, they don't have direct experience, which means actually have an experience of what they're talking about. All right. I want to start back with men love to create stories, but they do it for their protection, mainly their own protection of their ego. The same with religion. All the stories about what Jesus came here for, what everybody's here for, what happened. It's not the truth. And aliens are not here to give us any truth about God, religion, spiritual truth, spiritual awareness, or any of those words. Now, I mentioned the word food. What's every creature that has a body need? Food, water, and something to eat. So, all these UFO stories, you ever hear about them talking about what they eat? I'll tell you one thing. The tall whites love strawberries. And one of the reasons why they like it here is because they can get them here. We all have things that we like, even aliens. But the main food for most alien races, sorry to tell you this, is humans. Read Phil Snyder's story. It's not a story. It's real. Why he was killed. And they said he committed suicide. Look at the way he died. Look at what happened to him before he died. And then tell yourself, how in the world could he do that to himself? He can't and could not. People, in my world, since I've been in the UFO world most of my life, over the past 25 years, I have had 16 good friends, good really close friends, and some just friends taken out. 16. One of my best friends, who I knew all my life, his whole family was taken out and gone. People, the truth is out there, but it's really hard to find it. Never mind believe it or listen to it when you hear it. All these whistleblowers that everybody story tell us. I got to tell you the truth. Well, I was in there and they were working on aliens. Okay, so now what? Why don't you come out when you saw it? All the things that happened come out. How many years later? It's like when the government says we can't release anything for 25 or 50 years. Well, people are afraid that they're getting money. They might not get the money because they're going to tell the truth or whatever the reason is. I had the first astronaut. And I brought him on my show once. And he said that they never saw any aliens or anything on this planet. They saw a lot of things in space. But I called them up a year after I had him on my show to tell him we got an alien, uh, a ship in a lake, and we want to pull it out, and he hung up on me. He's afraid to even talk about it. He was on seven flights. They created a space program directly for him. But again, people, the truth is not out there. I mean, the one that just died, astronaut, he started opening up about aliens. Uh, the Antarctic, I mean, what they found there is still covered up greatly. I mean, even on a religious term, you don't see the truth about the Noah's Ark, do you? It was found, for real. Now, in the UFO world, we got people saying they have the Ark of the Covenant. One of them, and the government has the other one. You know, these people that are looking for money, the second a person asks you for money, I would say hang up on them, disconnect, or block them. I've been dealing with Trump for a while, but I don't expect anything from him. But I was dealing with Musk for a while on about 7 of his sites. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a car. I'm going to get $50,000. I'm going to get all these things. So no, I just want to see your face on a live video talking to me. All right, which never happened again. Oh, it's scheduled. It's scheduled. Uh, you know, when you deal with these people online, including Oprah, you don't get a reply from her ever. Why is that? You know, in the UFO world, who's talking to aliens and who's getting away with it? Well, it's called MJ-12. Now, they were created by Eisenhower, and Truman created the groundwork. Eisenhower had to create it because in 1952, fleets of alien ships went over the White House twice in a week. So he said, we got to form some kind of protection about that. But rather than get people involved with any of that, it became MJ-12, so that people didn't have to hear it or know about it. But I'm not going to get into the details of that. But they did start working with aliens. They did shoot a couple UFOs down. Roswell, all right, 3 ships were shot down, not one. All right. On Hopi Elder that I did a mission quest with and everything, his grandfather was with one of the ships that were shot down, and they stayed with the alien for months before another ship came and picked them and took them back. All right. He wrote a thesis in college on it, and he won a prize for that, even though they didn't want to give him a prize for writing about aliens. Robert Morning Sky. All right. Incredible person, but he's been attacked every which way. People, government, they smashed him up in front of his house. Black car came by and smashed him up, broke most of the bones in his body. Then he was called to do a show, which they reprogrammed him. Seriously. And then he said UFOs don't exist. You know, people, we get stories in the UFO world. We got Whitney Shriver, who said he's been abducted. But again, he doesn't know what really happened. Because when they did the alien interrogation online, and it was on TV, a short part of it was real. He started crying. What are they doing to him? What are they doing to him? The alien gave a lot of false information. The same as they gave to the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs. They never gave them any truth that was beneficial for us as people. Levitation is a gift that aliens do have. Being able to go through walls and doors is another ability that they have. But there's 32 psychic abilities. The only other person that I know, 2 people that had it, was Jesus and Mary Magdalene. 32 of them, which Jesus didn't use all of them. But when you go through ascension, which nobody goes through, all right, you become aware of those abilities. But sadly to say, nobody can use them on this planet right now. It would destroy us rather fast. Because ego comes in with money, and then the first thing you want is money. Uh, and I'm not going to go into the details of that, but it is not beneficial. All right. When I watched Ancient Aliens and they were going on and on about the Hopi people living underground, working with the Ant people, it's part of the truth. But it was a lot different than the way they twisted and said what happened. All right. They came out to meet the white man. All right. That's why they came out from underground. All right. Which was a sad thing because the white man was never good to Native people. All right. Native teachings teach about what? Living with the earth, living with animals and stuff. But, they would have burned down the United States in time. They traveled from place to place, burning the forest and slaughtering the buffalo, while the cavalry was doing the same thing. So we would have never survived no matter what. Not like it was moving forward. And their teachings, I danced all over the United States for over 30 years. I sat with many elders, many medicine people, men, women. Uh, I'm sorry, the stories that they tell have no substance in reality. How they got here, the story of the turtle, pipe carrier woman, and all the white buffalo. The white buffalo was killed 3 times. And they don't even want to talk about that. They still say it was the bringing of what? The end of the Native people. Over 50 million Native people killed. Aliens working with Greys. Not all aliens, not all Native people believe that, but the ones that do, well, they help us. Help you do what? And I asked them, challenged them. I said, I've been working in that world all my life. They do not help people, especially survive. The abductees have a problem with their brain for the rest of their life. When I saw my first alien, when I saw my first ship, the ship didn't mean much to me. I was little, I was into robots all my childhood, but when I saw my first ship, I was only 6. And no, wrong. When I saw my first ship, I was in a hospital with my brother. We were both having our tonsils out. And the ship came right up to the window and took up my brother. But then, by the time I was 12, the ship landed in my yard and an alien came in my house. And my friend and I were chasing it with a baseball bat. But I can go into stories. New Jersey is a credible landing point for aliens, especially what happened up in Montague, New Jersey. Hudson County Park, I was about 12, and a ship landed right smack in the middle of the park. And it took off rather fast, but it shattered a lot of the windows in the buildings, because it was apartment buildings around the park. But it was early. Most people really didn't see it. It was in the newspaper for one day. But that kind of news never got publicity. And it's always like, that was just a freak, blah, 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 an excuse for something that happened. Ancient alien speakers make a fortune telling you a story. So you think they're going to stop telling you stories? These whistleblowers come out. They get paid to go on a show to give a speech or do a conference or whatever. They get paid $20,000 to do an hour, 2 hours talk. Really? Like their stories that important to the world? Like they haven't helped us? I'm not going to go into the Hopi thing anymore. But Mexico. In Mexico, I'm not going to say where, when, how, why. But still going on. They're mining incredible artifacts of the Greys. Thousands and thousands of artifacts. Not one, not two, not just one hole in the ground. Where they lived. All right. It even goes in, they got their own history engraved and stuff and all these things. And you know what's funny? They even smoked. I saw one of the artifacts, the coolest pipe. I wanted to buy it. But one person's going around the United States with a museum of this stuff that he has. But they're still digging and mining stuff out of there. So it's not like somebody went there and buried a couple things for us to find, say, little graves are real. but they have never did something beneficial for us. They want our planet, and so do the reptilians. All right, we made a base for the tall whites. All right, the Anunnaki is another story that came out of Zechariah Sitchin of who and how important they are. But they were never gods, never, never will be gods, and they're not coming back to help us or whatever they helped destroy. Not the Anunnaki, but the races that were coming here when they were alive on planet Earth. They were a race of people. All right. Mankind storytelling, like who was Moses' family, who had power, where did he get all his power from, really, what did he do? Well, who is the greatest black magician to live on this planet? That I know, and I studied it, I was high priest and everything in between. Nobody else had the power, but I was never a black magician. Black and white magicians are different. Black magicians kill, white magicians do not. Big difference. So Moses, uh, for a word, had the ability to destroy everything, which he did in a great way. Even when he brought his people to a promised land. I hate to go into religion, but it's brainwashed because there's 2.5 billion Christians on this planet. All right, they believe that they went to the promised land. Promised land was never on planet Earth, people, ever. And besides, when the people were brought to the so-called promised land, there was people living there. And what did these people do when they got there? Oh, Moses wasn't allowed in. Why? Do you people know? And what happened when these people got in there? They killed the people that were there. A great way to prove spiritual truth, right? People, now, when we go into the Egyptian writing, Aztec writing, Mayan calendar writings, and everything else, why is it nobody could draw? I mean, realistically, the drawings that you see are a 10-year-old right now or a 5-year-old could draw them. So you mean to me, all this time, with all these super gods coming to them and everything else, couldn't you teach them to draw? You know how long it took before drawing became a reality in the world? I'd say probably 1800s. Realism is the word I like because that's the only artwork I like that looks real. Most famous artists do scrappy drawings, throw paint on a wall, spit on a wall, whatever. And that's called artwork. But when you call realism, means it looks like what it's supposed to look like. So when these people draw, why is it always stick figures and everything else? Or the scribbles, and then when the whole thing about this picture shows aliens. No, it doesn't. It shows their perception of what they could perceive at that time frame. I'm not saying aliens weren't here. They were always here, not living here. But then again, when you say a race was brought to this planet, that would make them an alien, wouldn't it? Every race was brought to this planet. History doesn't even go into that. Why? It should. How do you think we got here? Oh, a meteorite, a cell came and multiplied. And cells do not multiply to become perfect every time they multiply. We get better every time. We would have creatures with 10 heads and 10 legs and all kinds of weird stuff crawling around, flying around. But we don't. Because the development of man came from a higher being, higher source. All right. Which knew how to make it better, not worse. So when a cell or when a being was created, what race was here originally? Dinosaurs. How'd they get here? All right, we can go into all that. Science can't prove a thing. The black hole is a lie. The Big Bang Theory is a lie. So your whole history is based on the biggest lie ever. Many scientists came out about 6 months ago, an elder scientist said, everything in space is a lie. They can't prove one thing for real. Now, there's a base on the moon. There's bases on Mars. But whose are they and why and what and this and all the other questions? China went to the moon. Went to the moon how long ago? They said they found stuff on the moon, on the other side of the moon. I saw a video of that a long time ago. A city. But we never get to see it from this side of the planet. Our planet. All right. But why are they not dealing with us? I can go on about the stories that I had to deal with people. The person that invented the cruise missile, I worked in his house in California. And then I guess he said that every person's going to be taken to the moon twice in their life to deal with alien programming. You know, famous people talk stupid as well as other people talk stupid. Aliens wanted to help us, they would help us. There's a big difference. Religion, if it was beneficial, would help a person. It helps your ego. Everything man does is to create something that gives the ego satisfaction. Musk is going through the biggest disaster in his life, probably right now. Trump's ego is bigger than if you even understood anything about a God, you'd say it would be bigger than that because everything Trump does is for himself. And that's our government. Putin told them to tell the world about UFOs and aliens. He didn't do it. All right, I can go on. But do you want the truth? Do you want to just say, "Oh, good aliens are going to come save us when we're ready"? When are you ready? How many children have to die? 1, 10, 1,000, a million. When do you think it's time to step in? If you can save one soul, one child, don't you think that would be the right thing to do? No, it's not. Not in their viewpoint. I just give a scenario. If a child's stuck in a sewer, they'll call out 10 fire engines, the police. At the same time, they'll drop a bomb on a city and destroy a whole city. Does that make any moral sense at all? Man should have the awareness that they don't have the right to kill. But we believe we can kill people in other countries. How is that? Why is that? Going back to Atlantis, which I'm totally aware of, there were 9 races here. 5 races left. 4 races stayed: black, yellow, red, and white. All right. Why? Because they didn't unfold, didn't grow in awareness. They got stuck. And then aliens came and reprogrammed them to kill animals, to torture, to sacrifice. All those words that should not be on planet Earth. All right. It didn't exist in Atlantis when Atlantis was healthy. In the end, when it was dying, it was horrible. This is what could happen in the United States if they cut Social Security off completely or things like that. There'd be mass riots and people would be dying everywhere and fighting to live. We created a horrible system. And it's not because we wanted to. Atlantis was taken out because they were I use the word the Garden of Eden for real. Not the storybook of Adam and Eve or any of the stories. Adam and Eve is another fake story. Fake with a lot of the details around it, not meaning God wasn't there and guiding them. It was an alien race. Read that 3 times in a row. Listen to what the supposedly God says and what happens and what was created. God didn't have to do that. God doesn't lie if it talks to a person, and it usually doesn't. God doesn't come down into this realm for any reason. It doesn't have to. But we do have deities. We do have angels. We do have demons. All right? We have a lot of other things, plus aliens. None of them have a clue about a real God. Jesus came to this world to bring the truth about a God, not about protection. 2 separate words. God's unprotected. God doesn't protect soul here. It put it here to grow and learn. And when it does, it can leave. Soul's immortal. And Jesus proved that by dying and coming back. All right? But it wasn't about saving everybody's sorry ass, people. Thinking that's true. Think again. People, their children get hit by a car. Somebody comes in and murders them. Part of the family. And all the little things that happen. What kind of protection do you call that? This is hell, or a definition of what hell really is. When Dante's Inferno wrote, these are the levels of hell. Everything he wrote about is what on this planet. Burning, through fire, freezing, being cut up, and all those words are things that happen here. You as soul can't be killed, destroyed. Aliens are not at the same level as humans are. Never were. Why would you think they come here? To watch us kill each other? We're still better off than them because we do have a lot more awareness than they ever did. Watch the alien interrogation. It's real. With that alien, since there's no God and while the one man's going to kill the world, and it's a program. They're all programmed. I was dealing with people. Six, seven people supposedly came from Venus to this planet. The government actually took Thor into the White House. And then we have Alnick, or something like that. He claims he came from Venus. She was 6 or 7, took on a body. All right. But again, their teachings of Jesus are not there. They do not know. And they do not know about a real God. I'm going to tell you, aliens aren't going to help us move forward at any spiritual level. So you think Trump, Musk, or any of those kind of people can help us move forward? When anything that they do is based on money, not God, not compassion, not love, not truth, but money. The phrase money is the root for all evil. It is. It always will be. Well, I don't know how many people, I don't know how this video is going online. I won't know until I watch it after. But, the impact had that artwork. They can't draw and never did. It was created in the 1800s when real people could draw real people and look like real people. Carving statues is a little different. Because you're just playing with clay and mold it into what's there. But drawing is 1,000 times more creative. So, why couldn't they draw real pictures of real things in the early time of the world? Sure, the cavemen drew stick figures, but that was a long, long time ago. You think many years later they would be able to draw better than that. So when getting back, like the Mayan calendar, well, that was a lie, but it was a short story. Aliens always feed us parts of truth. If you look at the hieroglyphics of artwork of the Egyptians on reincarnation, it's pathetic. What they were taught to do with a body is pathetic. It's sad. We're not moving forward at any important speed. I'm not talking about speeds of spaceships, cars, or trains. Speed of awareness. Understanding what soul is, why it's here, what we're really supposed to be doing while we're here. Oh, get a better car, better house, better. No. Technology has nothing to do with spirituality. All right. There are many races coming here. Only 9 of them have the power to do things to us and not. All right. The so-called good aliens can't help us. They can't overpower the bad ones. I'll give you a scenario. It's one I use all the time. You're in an arena with 1,000,000 people, so-called good-hearted, loving people. Have 1,000 people with machine guns and grenades and everything else go into that arena. Who's going to walk out of there alive? The spiritual people? Well, if you're spiritual, first off, you can't kill. And if you do, it only means you're going to reincarnate over and over. So guess what? The bad people will always survive. So all the so-called good aliens can't take on a race that has the most deadliest weapons. The weapons that we have now were given to us in the 1900s. And the ships that even Billy Meyer's ships, the ships that they were using then, all right, are not even close to what they drive now. Not even vaguely the same. But people, if you want to listen to fairy tales about there's UFOs up there, and there could be aliens inside them. Really, traveling at the speed of light would destroy your. I'm not going to go into that. I don't have time today, but I'm going to do a story on that. I got to do a stories on a bunch of things. But people, if you don't want it, how far can I go? If you're listening to this right now, send this link to every single person you know online. It can't hurt. Let them decide if anything they want to hear any truth or find out anything more than they don't know, rather than listen to ancient aliens. They're showing a lot more ships, yeah, because everybody has a camera. Everybody can film a UFO every day, every night, wherever they live. But who's driving them? And who are they really talking to? Stephen Greer is the biggest storyteller, deceitful person in the whole UFO world. But he looks alien as well. He thinks alien. Blaming our government, which is not to blame. They had to make deals with aliens. The same as Trump's trying to make deals with China. China's going to take over the world. That is their goal. So you think they're going to be buddies with Trump for real? Putin's another evil person. He's a mass killer. And, let's be friends with him. Seek reality, people. Your morals are going down, not up. You're not becoming more spiritual or more aware. You like hell. You like living in hell. You like the things of hell. All right? Religions say lust, greed, anger, vanity, attachment. I say drinking, smoking, drugs, cheap thrills, sports, cheap sex. Outside of that, what do men want? What do men want? Nothing. I'm not going to go into that. My book I put out is for women only. Understanding a man's ego. My book before that is The True Teachings of Jesus, which is not in the Bible because they cut it out. People in that time frame couldn't understand what he was teaching. At that, I'm going to leave it for today. If you got a question, please email me, Hawksblood1@AOL.com, or Truth and God Only, AOL.com, or How to See God, AOL.com. All right, people. I hope you got something out of today. I'm not a storyteller. I'm not a liar. I put my life on the line. The only thing that I'm accountable to is God. Nothing else. And there is a real God. Not multiple gods because they're called deities or demons. They're not called God. Or aliens. All right, people. Peace, love, passion. Whatever you want in your life, don't stop until you get it. But don't stop with the lies. Keep going and find the truth.